flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Megan, can I take the roll?
Trustee Guyer.
Here.
Trustee Spurling. Trustee Bauman.
Here.
Trustee Marisak.
Here.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Brazaska.
Here. All right, move on to public participation. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to step to the podium and make comment, you have a 3-minute opportunity. Do we have anybody online? No one online? Is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak? Okay. Yeah, you sign in, please. State your name and your address.
Good evening. My name is Ruben Espinosa. I'm the owner of the property. Push. Yeah, sorry. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ruben Espinosa. I'm the owner of property here at 420 North Main, Montgomery. It's about 700,000 square feet building, industrial building. I acquired like approximately 9 years ago. And the reason why I'm here is I know that a few weeks ago we submitted on the board, an application to do some loading docks, and I understand that was denied. And I wanted to figure out if there's any way, or is anything that can be done to be reconsidered with the board. Reason being is because the main tenant that I have, Lion Enterprise, has been for 125 years in Montgomery, providing a lot of jobs. And by not having the loading docks, it will make that the tenant will leave Montgomery, and hundreds of jobs will be lost, So I wanted to see if there's anything that can be done to reconsider, or if anything can be done, in my opinion, Lion has been an institution in Montgomery for so many years, and it will be a completely devastating for the community, and as well for me as an investor, and such a large tenant, They're occupying already right now over 60% of the property. And, by not having those loading docks, it will make their business not workable.
Okay. So what's the process look like if you wanted us to revisit the issue? With alternate plans, what's the next step?
Well, at this point, the decision has been made, so he would have to reapply and have another public hearing and bring it before you, I think. Attorney Quantz can correct me if I'm wrong. If the original proposal is still something that's not what the board wants, providing him some feedback on what would make you more comfortable with providing the additional loading areas, I think would help guide him to what he and his architect and engineer can take a look at and try to accommodate. So
I would suggest maybe that as board members, we contact staff, and then you could contact Mr. Espinosa with what the feedback would be at that time. Does that sound reasonable? We'll communicate, try to do it this week, get some information to Sonia, if there's anything that could be done to change your view on it, and then we'll get back to you.
Okay. Yeah, I would really appreciate the reconsideration, I wouldn't be here, I own the property, and I've been putting millions of dollars into the property, improving in terms of fire, security, tons of money, I would see really bad, for the community, losing such a big company into the community, Just wanted to say that, but anything that can be done, we would be glad. We went to the public hearing and we got 9 out of the 10 votes. So I don't know what else can be done, you know?
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Is there anyone else? Public comment? Okay, so we'll move on to Christina Nimitz is going to read the Breast Cancer Awareness Month proclamation.
Good evening. Before the board this evening is a proclamation for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is October, the month of October 2025. Whereas breast cancer is the most common type of cancer among women in the world and second leading cause of cancer deaths among women in the United States, more than 1 in 8 women and 1 in 833 men in the U.S. will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. In 2024, an estimated 310,720 Americans were diagnosed with invasive breast cancer. And whereas metastatic breast cancer occurs when breast cancer spreads to other parts of the body, including bones, lungs, liver, and brain, resulting in an average life expectancy of 26 months. And whereas National Breast Cancer Awareness Month seeks to increase public knowledge about the importance of early detection and treatment of breast cancer, and whereas many women still do not utilize mammography at regular intervals, even though research indicates this is the best available method of detection, and whereas taking advantage of early detection methods such as mammography and clinical breast exams could help the breast cancer death rate drop by approximately 30%. And whereas the American Cancer Society and other organizations continue to search endlessly for a cure through vital research and to reduce the risk of breast cancer through community education. Now, therefore, on behalf of Matthew T. Brawley, Village President of the Village of Montgomery, and hereby proclaims the month of October 2025 to be Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the Village of Montgomery, and urges all women and their families to get the facts about breast cancer, support those courageously fighting breast cancer, and honor the lives lost to this devastating disease.
Motion?
Second. Oh, wait, you can't make the motions.
No, I was
I'll
asking
make the
for a
motion.
And motion by Youngerman, second by Brazaska. Call the roll.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Brazaska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman. Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Sorry, you threw me off there. Usually,
Passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manager. All right, so we'll move on to item C, fiscal year 2025 annual comprehensive financial report and audit presentation. Chris Minnick, Director of Finance.
Thank you. As the board is aware, state statutes require the village to have an independent CPA firm perform an audit of the village's financial statements each year. For the past several years, the village has contracted with Lauterbach and Amon from Naperville to perform this service on behalf of the village and its residents. The village's fiscal year ended April 30th of 2025. Field work for the audit for fiscal year 2025 was performed over the summer, and reports are now prepared and ready for filing. Several communications were included in the packet tonight. Items such as the annual comprehensive financial report, which is actually the city's financial statements, the management letter, and the SAS 114 letter, which is a communication of items of importance in the audit to the village board from the auditor. We do have a representative from Lauterbach and Amon, Mr. Joe Loudent, here to present the audits, or the results of the audit, and to answer any questions that the board may have. So unless there are any initial questions of me, I will turn it over to Mr. Loudent at this point.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Well, as introduced, my name is Joe Loudent. I am an audit manager at Lauterbach and Amon, and I'm here on their behalf tonight to present to you your fiscal year 2025 annual comprehensive financial report. I'd like to start this evening by thanking the entire team out here. It was great to meet Chris during fieldwork this year, working with Lexi once again. It was another successful audit cycle, and we're looking forward to continuing that relationship in the future. Tonight, I'll be presenting to you 3 required pieces of communication by the state of Illinois. The first of those 3 is going to be the SAS 114 letter. I'll briefly go through this letter. The SAS 114 letter is issued in accordance with Accounting Standard 114, in which we are required to disclose any that occurred with management during the course of the audit process. I'm happy to summarize this document for you and say that we did not have any disagreements this year. Following that, I'm going to get into the annual comprehensive financial report. It's going to be the Do
Joe, I think you turned off the mic there.
Sorry. Can everybody hear me now? Okay. I'll try to keep it below. Sorry. As you can imagine, this is not a page turner by any means, so I'll hit on a few key areas and try to keep it pretty brief and high level this evening. If I could have everybody start on page 13. Page 13 is going to be the village's Certificate of Achievement Award from the IGFOA. And I just want to highlight this once again as it's a really prestigious award that the village has continued to get for accounting excellency, as well as some additional information that goes into the report, such as the transmittal portion at the front of the annual comprehensive financial report, as well as the statistics section in the back. It once again just goes to show all the hard work that the village's team does in order to prepare this report, and we just want to congratulate you again. The award that's in this is for fiscal year 2024, so it is presented in a year in arrears, and we did work with the village to submit for fiscal year 25, which we're hoping to hear some good news on the award again here soon. Following that, if I could have everybody turn to page 16. Page 16 is the independent auditor's report. This portion of the report has a few different purposes. The first of those is to discuss what management's responsibility is as it relates to this report, which is to prepare the financial statements inside of it. The next thing it does is discuss what the auditor's responsibility is, which is to generate an opinion on those financial statements. And then the last thing it does is generate your opinion for fiscal year 25, which is unmodified, and this is the cleanest and highest form of assurance that we can provide to the village. After that, you'll find the management's discussion and analysis starting on page 20. Highly recommend spending a majority of your time here, as this portion of the document does a great job of summarizing the activity from fiscal year 25. The team out here put great lengths to go into detail and provide some descriptions of some key highlights during the fiscal year. There's some nice charts and graphs in there that just make it a little bit easier to read the dense financial statements that follow it. After the management's discussion and analysis, I'll hit on a few key areas of the financial statements. If I could have everybody turn to page 38. Page 38 is your statement of activities, or otherwise known as your government-wide income statement. On page 39, in the far left column, third line from the bottom, you'll see your overall change in governmental activities of a positive 2.1 million this year, and then your business type activities with a decrease of approximately 1.7 million this year. Following that, if I could have everybody turn to page 44. Page 44 is your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for your governmental funds, or otherwise known as your governmental fund income statement. And I'll briefly go through the changes in fund balance at the third line from the bottom. So you'll find your general fund had an increase of approximately 252,000 this year, and I apologize, it's the fourth line from the bottom. Your special revenue TIF number 2 fund had an increase of 8.2 million this year. Your debt service had an increase of 3,400 this year. Your capital improvements had no change. Infrastructure improvements, slight decrease of 579,000. No change in vehicle and equipment replacement. And then your cumulative non-major had an increase of approximately 3.5 million this year. Following that, if I could have everybody turn to page 50. This is going to be your statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position for your proprietary funds. Starting in the far left column, third line from the bottom, you'll see your water fund had a decrease of 1.7 million this year. Your refuse fund had an increase of 26,000 this year. And then your internal service employee insurance had an increase of 84,000 this year in the far right column. Starting on page 54, you'll find the notes to the financial statements, and I'll summarize what each note holds. Note 1 is going to be your summary of significant accounting policies. Note 2 will hold budgetary highlights and budgetary information. Note 3 holds capital assets and long-term debt. And then note 4 is all your other information, which does include IMRF, other post-employment benefits, and your police pension actuarial information. After the notes of the financial statement, you'll find some additional supplemental information that I'm not going to spend any time on this evening. That will include your budget to actuals, some debt to maturity schedules, as well as some additional statistics section. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions following this evening on those portions of the report. Then the last required piece of communication I'm going to be touching on this evening is the village's management letter. I do want to preface that our management letter is just a listing of best practice recommendations or any upcoming GASB pronouncements. And you'll note that the village has one new current recommendation for IT security awareness and monitoring of emerging risks. We did have a discussion with the team out here. IT security is more prevalent than ever in this day and age, so we wanted to just continue to make the village aware of the risks that can come about from IT. And you'll note management's response in there to address the risks of IT as well. And then you'll note there's a couple prior recommendations, one of them being for funds over budget. And you'll note that there were some changes from 24 to 25, and management also has a detailed response in there, noting their acknowledgement of it. The next prior recommendation is your deficit fund balance, and once again, management acknowledging this comment and looking to correct it moving forward. And then the last page of this is 3 upcoming GASB pronouncements. The first one being GASB number 102 with the implementation date of April 30th, 2026. Then GASB number 103 with an implementation date of April 30th, 2027. And GASB number 104 with April 30th, 2027 implementation date as well. And we'll work alongside with the village to determine if those do apply in the year of implementation. That'll conclude my portion of the presentation this evening. Happy to answer any questions you might have now. Otherwise, my email is always open as well. Happy to answer anything you might have after the fact.
Sorry. Thank you, Joe. Does anybody have any questions for Joe? Thank you very much. Thank you to the team. Thank you, Lexi. Thank you, Chris, for helping put this all together. And it's, for those of you that don't see the actual document, it's quite a bit of reading. War and Peace wishes it was bound like this. So, thank you very much, appreciate it. And again, if anybody has any further questions, please reach out.
I have a question.
Yes.
Going back to prior recommendations, under the recommendation of, and this is in the management letter.
Okay.
We recommend the village investigate the causes of the funds over budget and adopt appropriate future funding measures for, and the status is this comment has not been implemented and will be repeated in the future. When are we gonna look into that?
We look at it every year. We try and stay within budget. There are things that happen that take it out of budget, but we make you aware of those. And usually
Is-
come to you to approve anything.
When I read funds over budget, did we levy too much against that, or did we spend more than we had in it?
We spent
Okay,
more than budgeted.
so then it is just an adjustment in the SA, right? Or SSA? SA?
SSA.
SSA, okay. And so that should correct itself then?
Again, there are times we end up over budget for unforeseen circumstances, but again, we make the board aware of that
Okay.
and get approval, so.
And did we not start the practice where we're making those adjustments to the budget at the time? Previously, we weren't.
Correct. It's my understanding that prior to, that budget adjustments were not done, and we've started to implement that process, and we'll be more active as we become aware of those instances where we have some unexpected expenditures.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you very much. Have a good night,
Appreciate your
everyone.
time. Thank you for coming out. All right, so moving on to item 5, consent agenda, minutes from the October 13th, 2025 board meeting, accounts payable summary report through October 27th, 2025, in the amount of $1,061,453.87. I wrote over mine. Motion?
Second.
Motion by Bauman, second by Rosaska.
Trustee Bauman,
Yes.
Trustee Marisak,
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman,
Yes.
Trustee Brazaska,
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
We're all looking at each other because Doug usually makes the motions. I understand that. It's a little awkward.
All right, item 6, items for separate action. Item A is a PSA for water audit, water system improvements plan, and ongoing non-revenue water assistance. Director Wolf?
Thank you, Trustee Marisak. So the village board is aware, we continue to work towards our transition to Lake Michigan water. Part of that process with our allocation through IDNR is to not only adhere to the 10% or under non-revenue water loss, but also have a system improvement plan in place if we are not adhering to that percentage. So a large part of that process is the water audit that is conducted each and every year. That audit has been done historically by EEI and being proposed again this evening. Obviously, EEI has familiarity with the village's system and the audit process, and therefore staff is recommending approval tonight. If there are any questions from the village board, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
So moved.
Thank you. Moved by Youngerman, seconded by Guyer.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Brazaska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes. Passes 5-0. Item B, don't put your pen down, Director Wolf, because I believe the 2025-26 motor fuel tax resolution 2025-032 for snow removal material.
Thank you, Trustee Marisak. So as the board is aware, we've brought this before in years past, obviously each and every year as we're approaching winter. The village contracts for our road salt through CMS. This year we received our pricing from CMS at $68.99 per ton. The village is allocated 814 tons in our order process. We have the ability to go plus or minus 20% of that as we have in years past. Tonight before you, the resolution is to authorize the use of MFT funds, which we have historically done for the purchase of this, the materials for our winter operations. If there's any questions from the village board, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
How does this year's pricing compare to previous pricing?
It is
I think
about
it's slightly
40
up.
cents higher
Yeah,
than last year, so very comparative to years past. We really haven't seen a big swing in pricing since about 2019,
Was that
when it was up
stupid?
about $96 per
Okay.
ton. It's come down and kind of really fluctuated between 40, 50, 60, 77. It's been really all in that area, so this year pretty close to last year's pricing.
How much, an estimated tonnage of what we've got on stock?
About 2,500 tons, probably to 3,000, somewhere in there.
In the term a normal winter is not really fair, but in a normal winter, what do we typically go through?
I would say typically around 2,200 tons.
Oh, is it that much? Okay. All right.
Again, what's your definition of average these days?
Well,
That's the hard part.
Hopefully our average winter is about 62 degrees this year,
That would be fine.
so that would be fantastic.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Brazaska, seconded by Youngerman.
Trustee Brazaska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
All right, and we're on to item C. Again, Director Wolf, that's the PSA for lime softening water treatment plant filter media replacement.
Thank you, Trustee Marisak. So the village utilizes our lime softening plant as one of our treatment processes for domestic water for the village of Montgomery. In that process, we have media filter. There are 4 media filters in the lime softening plant. As part of our preventative maintenance program that we've identified, that material would be up for replacement is our recommendation. So through the process, we have submitted samples to the lab, and staff has reviewed those samples with the lab's recommendations. And again, falling in line with our preventative maintenance plan, staff is recommending the approval of the PSA that would move this project forward towards the media changeout. However, we've also looked at, we're getting to this point as we transition to Lake Michigan, trying to proactively look at items that may or may not need to be done in our proactive maintenance plan. So we've looked at this, and given the summary within the report from the laboratory, we would also be confident as well if the board so chose not to move this forward this evening with the PSA, that we could take a little bit more of a reactive plan if the media were to propose to be having to be replaced prematurely to 2032, where we transition to Lake Michigan water. But again, when discussing it through with the Water Division staff, we felt it would be best to be proactive as this item is currently budgeted. But again, you know, kind of putting a little bit into the board's hands tonight to make that recommendation or discuss that a little bit further. So if there's questions from the board, I am happy to answer them.
I do have one. So in light of the fact that it looks like it's calling for us to replace and the life cycle of it, we will still have the lime softening plant even after or is the lime softening going to close?
So all of our treatment processes will be removed after we transition to Lake Michigan water. The deep wells will be kept in service for backup, but they will be pumped direct, likely just chlorine added, and pumped direct to the system in the event of an emergency. There will be no treatment process. The reality of keeping the treatment processes in place or keeping the systems that if you will, at idle are unrealistic. There's no possible way to do that without running water through that. And when we're paying a substantial amount of money, we can't pump to waste. So those processes will go away. The material was replaced in 2012. And the suggested life cycle of the material is anywhere from 15 to 20 years. So we are, again, within that range of some comfortability in extending that to the 2032 mark.
So what's the cost to replace the media and all 4 filters?
I'd have to look at the total budget of what we proposed. Obviously, this PSA would be moving it forward to us for us to go out to bidding to get pricing for that to move it forward. So I'd have to review what was the total amount that we put in the budget. I don't have that in front of me.
Close to 200,000.
I believe so. 193.
So I won't spend a lot of time on this. I'm not going to Freeman this, and I'm not going to Geyer this. I just will say that the previous media lasted 22 years. And the only reason we replaced it is because we took the plant out of the service, and it was a huge project. You know, I've looked at the report, talked to Mark about this. There's no what's called channeling. There's no mud balls. The filters are working. The anthracite is the first level of filtration. It's a larger media, captures larger particles, and then there's sand underneath that catches the smaller particles. And really, the only thing that is catching is any carryover from the lime softening process, so the flock that comes over. Backwash it, every 250 hours for 20 minutes, and that process really extends the life of the filters if you do that consistently. Prior, you know, what would happen is when the filters backed up, they would backwash them. And that packed a lot of things. You got a lot of mud balls, got a lot of channelizing, and it was, the life of the filters were in jeopardy. When we started being more proactive about backwashing and the maintenance of the filters, then we extended the life. And like I said, even with all that, at 22 years, while there was some degradation of the anthracite, the filters were still operational. And on the effluent of the filters, there's a turbidity meter. And typically that's around 0.01 NTUs, National Turbidity Units, which is low. That's why it's still running, probably 0.01. And that's a very good indication that you're having problems with the filters. Either the filters are backing up, which means they're packed, or you're getting channelization or breakthrough and your NTUs go up. If I was still operating the plant, I would say that there's no reason to spend the $200,000 at this point in time. We got 22 years out of them before. Industry says 15 to 20 years. It's been 13 years, another 7 years at the maximum industry recommended life. We're going to be shutting that plant down. I know 200,000 isn't a big number compared to all the money we're spending, but at the end of the day, it's $200,000. So that would be my recommendation, is to forego this right now and be a little bit more reactive, in this case, and not spend the money at this time.
So worst case scenario is if we didn't do this, we have alternate, right? We don't have to we have alternate that we could use another plant in an interim.
So
We would need-
typically, so we would use another plant during the process of exchange. If there was an issue with the filters, there's 4 different filters. There is a possibility of isolating any material or media that's bad in an individual filter. We wouldn't necessarily need to run all 4. So we have options to be able to do that. Not to mention the fact that this wouldn't be an immediate effect, that we would start to see a gradual, decrease in the media itself. So then again, we could come back if need be and be reactive if we had to move forward a media exchange. But again, there's possibility that even if there was some filters that were showing signs of wear, we could isolate those down and only run a few. There's a lot of variables, but there's a level of comfortability from staff with that.
With postponing.
I have a couple questions. First, you're okay, Mark, you're okay with this, and Chris, you're okay with this? Okay. Second question is, if we get a large water user that comes to the village, does that affect this decision going forward in between now and the time that we switch over to Lake Michigan water? Does that potentially make it more urgent to do that?
It certainly could, because the inflow to the plant would be I shouldn't say that. It's likely that we would utilize the lime softening plant in the event of adding an additional well for a high water user, but that's not necessarily been determined yet. So I think there's just a lot of uncomfortability with knowing that.
Okay, and my last question, in the history of the DuPage Water Commission, any municipalities that have been taking water through the DuPage Water Commission previously, has Lake Michigan water ever stopped flowing?
So it has already in our time with being involved with the commission. There has been an instance of water shutdowns. Now, in our process as well, not only of keeping our wells on backup supply, we are required to keep 48 hours of storage. So at any given time where we stop receiving water from Lake Michigan, we will in theory have 48 hours of water usage for the village to utilize. No one, to my knowledge, has ever had to tap, has gone beyond that 48 hours to where they've had to utilize backup wells into their system. So it has happened. The windows have been somewhat small. It's happened to another community that is not necessarily in the commission, but they have a interconnect with the commission and had to do some repairs on their line. So we have seen it, but again, it's not been an instance where where anyone's tapped into their backup wells.
What was the reason for the water to stop flowing recently from DuPage?
That was Elmhurst, City of Elmhurst, I believe it was, had a leak on their transmission main, pretty significant repair that needed to take place. So it wasn't a stoppage of flow to the DWC Commission members, it was a reduction in flow. So they had sent out, this was all done, in this instance, it was all advanced warning, a little bit different circumstance, because really it was the commission helping another community than it was hurting the commission. And sometimes, and if you ask a lot of the communities, it's good to sometimes slow the receiving, the flow down a little bit to help turn some water over within some of the communities. So again, it can be good and bad. It's been, like I said, to my knowledge, other than those 2 instances that took place, it's very rare. The other instance where water stopped was related to some power failure issues that happened at DWC's plant. And again, I believe they had that system back up and running and pumping to their customers in less than 18 hours.
And I'm going to simplify this, but the pipe that's coming from eventually Naperville to our 3 communities, is it just one big pipe?
Yes.
What happens, and so the pipe that comes to Naperville is probably one big pipe, right? And where I'm going with this is, as those pipes begin to age, and the stuff from Naperville to these 3 communities is going to be relatively new, But the stuff before that, as that needs to be replaced and repaired, and say a mile of this pipe is deteriorated, are we ever in a situation where we could be without water for a couple weeks?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, I believe DWC would make whatever, needs that they need to, emergency repairs, whatever is needed to get water restored. I don't think it would be anything longer than a week at most. I know, just to kind of piggyback on what Mark said, the Water Commission, that it's not DWC, but that supplies water to Schaumburg and Elk Grove this year, had a leak on, I think, is an 84-inch pipe that they had to repair, and they let everyone know prior notice when they were gonna make their repair. I think they were out of water for 4 or 5 days. So, I mean, these commissions know the importance of the water, and they're gonna do whatever they can to restore water to their customers as much as possible, because they know what that all entails and how important it is for the communities.
We would never be without water because we have the backup wells. So if
Correct.
something
Well, and-
happened,
and
we just
my
pump
next
those.
question was related to that, because I heard earlier that as we have the backup wells, which we have to maintain, that's part of our agreement, right? We have to maintain those. If we're pulling the deep well water, and it usually goes through a treatment process, right?
But it won't.
But currently, deep well goes through a treatment process, right? And that treatment process is beyond just clarification, right? And in our backup, with our backup system, if 6 years from now, DuPage Water Commission, we don't have water for a week, we use our wells, we're only doing the clarification and not the treatment?
Correct.
What,
It's gonna be hard water.
okay, but it's still safe to drink and all of those
Safe to drink.
things?
Just gonna
Okay,
be hard water.
That's where I'm going with this.
Right. May have a little bit more iron in it. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Because you have to realize, before the lime softening treatment plant, this village, like most villages, ran on well water with chlorination. That's all we had. It was hard water. If you wanted soft water, you bought a water softener and stuck it in your house.
Yeah, but everyone here now is suburban. They're not used to
I
hard
get
water.
that, but yeah. But, it's, if we have to produce hard water for a week, we have to produce it for a week. At least everybody has water.
Right.
One other solution that staff has discussed, long-term solution, would be to establish an interconnect with the city of Aurora to supply water to the village. That has not been discussed anything more than conceptual, but a long-term plan, since they are not on Lake Michigan water, in emergency, would be able to supply the village with water.
And
That would need to be ironed out and discussed and everything, but that is a possibility to reduce the impacts of what you just said, as well as potentially get the village off their deep wells, if so chose.
Aurora is Fox River primary and then Deep Well secondary?
60/40.
They're a blend.
Oh, are they?
The
Yeah,
60/40.
they blend.
So they blend, they have an intake where they withdraw from the Fox River, and then they blend that with a combination, like the village, a combination of deep and shallow wells.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Those are my questions.
And then on your other question you had about a high-end water user, it depends on where they're located in the village. So the grid or anything west, the Orchard Road corridor, that's not the lime softening plant. That's well 14 and 15, that's the ion exchange plant on the west end of town.
Okay.
So, yeah, it depends on, we have the ability to move water through pumping stations, but that would be the primary source, would probably be the west
Okay.
ion exchange treatment plant.
All right, so do we have a motion?
Well, as I understand, you would want a motion in the positive, and then we would vote no on it?
Correct.
Correct.
I will make a motion.
Well,
Go ahead, Matt.
what was this $30,000 for then?
So this is for the PSA with EEI. This would be for the process of contracting the work, construction supervision, goes along with the majority of our projects that EEI oversees. So that's what this PSA is for. So if the board chooses to not move the PSA forward, then the project itself would not move forward. We would not go out to bid. We would forego this project.
All right, so trustee Youngerman made a motion,
Second.
seconded by Bauman.
Trustee Youngerman.
No.
Trustee Brazaska.
No.
Trustee Guyer.
No.
Trustee Bauman.
No.
Trustee Marisak.
No. All right.
Thank you, Director Wolf and Engineer Ott. This is one of those things that I particularly like to hammer on you guys, right? But when you guys can save us money, that makes life a little bit easier, so thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item D, Less Lethal Device Grant Award. Deputy Chief Armando Sanders.
Okay, Lon?
You're on.
Good evening, village board members, village personnel, others in attendance. I'm here to go over the less than lethal grant we were recently awarded. Just last week we found out, so talk about saving money. We're going to save some money here. So this grant actually was from '24. We applied for it. We weren't in the first round of recipients. However, again, last week we were notified that there were additional funds, and with that, this less than lethal grant provides less than lethal tools and training for law enforcement. We're currently awarded 6 of the newer TASER 10 models, and as you can see in the package, includes a handle, holster, battery pack, magazine, cartridges, and the life of that is for 5 years. The fiscal impact, we budgeted $17,500 for 5 of them. They're $3,500 each for 5 years. So we received 6 for a total of $21,600 over 5 years. So what I'm ultimately seeking is we would ask for a recommendation to purchase the 6 TASER 10 models in the amount of $21,600, which is due up front, and we would be fully reimbursed upon receipt of those tasers. And then we would not have to budget for those replacements for 5 years, so we're looking at 2031. So at this time, the grant was attached in the paperwork, and if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them at this time.
Oh, go ahead, Trustee Bauman.
Every officer then has a,
No, so, good question. The tasers, Axon obviously is the manufacturer. They cost a lot, so it's $3,500. So what we have is like a bank. We're going to look for a bank of, we currently have 10, so with this 6, we have a bank of 16. We do have the older models, which we're phasing out, but this would give us a bank of 16 so that each shift and the personnel that are working kind of rotate through those.
And this will,
So
go ahead.
go
I
ahead.
thought you, no, I-
No, I
so
just,
this will help put us, because when we first got the tasers, we buy all new tasers. They all life out at the same time.
Yes.
It's a big hit to the budget every time we have to cycle them. This will help us start to stagger that cycle.
Yes, so this will be the third, I guess, installment of those. We had 5 2 years ago, 5 last year. We're scheduled for 5 more this year, but then we're awarded 6 with the grant. Ideally, we'd like to have one for everybody, but again, cost is an issue with that as well. So,
they're at least kind of like a car. They're exchanged or swapped out on shift. So everybody that is on patrol or potentially in the building would have one.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we're comfortable with 16, 15, so that we have our officers, our investigations, our command staff, whoever would need one, it has access to those. And we still have some of the older models, however, those are being phased out, but we still utilize those as needed.
You speak of, there's a cartridge with them, never having used one. If we get the opportunity, I'd love to test one out maybe with Trustee Marisak someday.
Steve was first, so.
The first target or the first test?
I was gonna say, for once, it wasn't me, but okay.
But these guns, are they, with these cartridges, is it something that's charged, or are they just always ready to go?
Yeah, no, they charge, so they come with a charging dock as well.
So if someone's coming off a patrol, how long do they have to charge before the next officer goes on street and it's fully?
So we'll have a dock, we have a dock with several, and then each officer has their own. So ideally, with some of the, and we also have replacement batteries with those that we budgeted for every year, so that some are charging when they come off shift, just kind of like radios or anything else, so.
We have 2 or 3 backup in
Oh,
case
yeah.
something, okay.
Yes. Yep, like I said, we still have the older models as well, so we at least have 10 of those as backup, but to have all 15 out at once is going to be rare. However, we do have the additional units charging and waiting to go if we need them.
Okay.
And the cartridges, those are the actual probes, right? That's what the
Yes.
cartridge is, that's what
Yeah.
probes that, so you fire it, it'd be like a magazine and a gun, it's empty, you take it off,
Yep.
put another one on. Okay.
Yep. I mean, this also includes access to the online library that we would use as well, kind of can track it and do those things too.
Great.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Youngerman, second by Guyer.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Brazaska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman. Trustee Marisak.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Ask,
Deputy Chief.
ask the maintenance guy that years ago went in and grabbed one of the tasers and was playing with it and actually shot it off. And then, yeah. You remember that? Yeah,
He doesn't work for us any longer.
not anymore.
Item for discussion. No item for discussion, and new and unfinished business. Anybody have anything new or unfinished?
I'd like to thank everybody who was doing the judging for beautification committee for Halloween. I think we had 115 residents that won awards, so thank you to everybody who participated in that.
Anyone else? I'd like to thank the Montgomery Police Department and all of the sponsors and volunteers that came out and helped for the Halloween safety event. It was another successful event. Attendance was a little down, it seemed, but the weather was a little shaky in the morning. It rained a little bit, and then it looked a little bit off in the afternoon. But all in all, it was a great event, great outturn by the community, tons of support. So thank you. If you could pass that along, Deputy Chief, appreciate that. Thank you. And he did chalk with a cop over there as well, on the wet concrete, which was always fun. So thank you very much. All right, so moving on to future meetings. Planning and Zoning Commission meeting Thursday, November 6th in this room, and then Village Board meeting Monday, November 10th. There's no executive session. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Brazaska.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman. Trustee Marisak.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.